Emperor Septimius Severus, on his deathbed, gave one last piece of advice to his two sons. He said, "Enrich the soldiers, scorn all other men." Emperor Septimius lived by this mantra. During his reign, he raised the wages of the soldiers from 300 to 400 denarii per year, a 25% raise, while also reducing the silver purity of the denarius from 75% to 50%, one of the biggest debasements under a single Roman emperor, which surely must have caused the significant rises in prices for everyone. But how did the emperor manage to keep his hold on power for nearly 18 years after pulling the rug on his entire people like that? That would have been the fraud of the century. How didn't anyone revolt? How didn't this expensive monetary policy generate massive unrest? I don't think Septimius was particularly well versed in economics, but he exploited, probably unintentionally, a phenomena called the cantillon effect. And this effect was used by emperors throughout the empire's history to keep their hold on power, even if at the expense of the average Roman, through the inflation it caused. And let me tell you, we are still falling prey to this monetary scam up to this very day. Now, to illustrate a little bit better what this effect means, I want you to make a thought experiment with me. Let's say we are Roman tradesmen. We are crossing the Germanic frontier and we want to trade a bag full of silver denarii of Septimius, like the ones you see on your screen now, and we want to buy and bring back to Rome beautiful amber crystals, harvested all the way in the Baltics, far from the empire's territories. You plan on buying them from a Germanic trader who works as an intermediary between you and those harvesting the amber far, far away. You can't reach the source directly, it's too far away, right? Here's the catch. Over here in Germania, where the transaction is taking place, your denarius is worth its weight in silver. We aren't in Roman territory. The man you're buying amber from doesn't need to accept your coins for its denomination value. He has been in business for a while, he's used to handling Roman coins from traders like you, and he knows the current emperor is up to something, that the newer coins have silver of much lower quality in them. We know this is true by the very low number of coins from the Severan dynasty found outside the historical borders of the empire, compared to earlier coins of higher silver quality. Somehow, by some kind of testing, we know that they knew how to spot this trick on the part of the emperor. So he tells you that if you want to buy his amber with these coins, you will have to pay an extra. And you've crossed half the empire already and spent too much money to just turn back now, so you begrudgingly agree to the price, keeping a mental note that once you're back in Rome, you will transfer the extra cost you just paid to the final price you charge your clients. After all, you aren't running a charity here. What you've just done is to be yet another cog at the cantillon effect. Back within the empire's borders, your coin isn't a weight of silver like in Germania, a lump of silver atoms with other metals mixed in and the face of an emperor stamped on it. It is 1 denarius, the only currency accepted within the empire, a state monopoly with a predetermined value. It has silver in it, of course, but it still has intrinsic value, but ultimately, and this is key, its value is determined by what the state says it is worth. So, back to Septimius Severus and his magnanimous raise from 300 to 400 denarii a year to each soldier that we just mentioned. Now, Septimius came to power through a civil war, and for that, he had to expand the size of the army considerably and increase its influence in how the state was run. To make things worse, the empire wasn't living its best moments economically when he reigned, so silver was scarce, and there wasn't enough silver around to strike coins in the normal quality in the numbers required to pay for this bloated army. But hey, remember we are inside the empire, where the value of the coin is dictated by what the emperor says it is, not by its silver content. So just strike the denarius with less silver, but it is still worth 1 denarius. Of course, this would eventually increase the number of coins in circulation. People would notice the coins of lower quality and prices would rise. But here's where the cantillon effect comes in and shows its ugly face. You see, the closer you are to the one who makes the money, in this case the emperor and the high Roman elite, the more you benefited from this creation of money out of thin air. Since I just gave you the example of Septimius's coins, which started at 75% fineness and ended up at around 50%, let's use these numbers as an example. Imagine you have an economy in price equilibrium. The prices for goods are stable. All coins in circulation have 75% silver. You need to buy the allegiance of the elites and the army. So you begin striking mountains of coins with just 50% silver. The first people to be paid will be your soldiers and your inner circle, precisely those who can keep you in power through sheer force. Anyone questions your right to rule? As long as you keep the army happy, you just give the word and those fine Praetorian friends of yours will be happy to slice the throats of whoever dares to speak up against your decisions. This means that these people close to you, the emperor, especially the army, will reap the benefits of having more absolute numbers of denarii in their pockets, and they spend this money in goods and services before your bad quality coins have time to trickle down to the rest of society and prices rise as people notice your fraud. But who cares? By then, your soldiers would have already bought what they needed, they are happy in supporting you, and when prices catch up and they see their purchasing power eroding away, well, you're their buddy, right? Their best friend. And you can just decrease the silver purity on the coins once more and raise their salary to artificially bump their salaries up, even if you don't have enough silver to sustain it. But what matters is that the troops are happy and they are the ones keeping you in power. As long as their purchasing power is restored, well, that's what's important. As for the Roman people who have their purchasing power destroyed by inflation, well, who cares about them? Remember the second part of the phrase? Scorn all men? That's it. Now, probably you can see where this is going. This is the perfect recipe for a negative feedback loop. This cycle of debasement, issue of money, and inflation is what led to the eventual destruction of the Roman monetary standard in the late 3rd century AD. To a point that the denarius was reduced to a pathetic coin of around 2 grams in weight and approximately 2% silver content, like nothing. And other denominations like the gold aureus or older coins of good silver, these just ended up being hoarded away and removed from circulation by the people as they desperately tried to save precious metals. And you know what's terrible? This isn't a problem only the Romans had to deal with. The cantillon effect is pretty much alive in today's monetary system, which is based on fiat currency. When central banks create new money, whether by printing it or digitally injecting it into the economy, that money doesn't go to everyone at the same time. It goes to the top, to the first echelons of government, government employees, banks, and large corporations. These are the ones who get access to the money before prices rise. They spend it on assets like real estate, stocks, commodities, still priced at yesterday's values. And just like with Septimius Severus and his army, by the time that money filters down to workers, small businesses, and ordinary consumers, well, prices have already gone up. So the people closest to the imperial mint, or today's imperial mint, the Federal Reserve money printer, these people gain the most, and everyone else? Well, everyone else just pays higher prices without seeing higher wages. That's the cantillon effect, and it's why inflation quietly shifts wealth from the poor to the powerful. Not necessarily to the rich, to the powerful. Now, how should we fix this? Well, I'm just a coin collector and a history lover. I know everyone in social media loves saying they have the answers to the world's problems, but I don't. All I want to show you in this video is that history repeats itself. And even when it doesn't repeat itself, it often rhymes pretty well. maybe we should reconsider 2,600 years of state monopoly in the issue of money. Or maybe those same 2,600 years are actually the proof that we need to give the state this monopoly, and it's just one of the prices we need to pay for living in society, maybe? Now, that's a question I will leave to you in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy coin collecting, money printer go brr, and I'll see you soon. Let me give a special thank you to all of my amazing channel members and Patreons for their generous support. This channel would not be the same without your help. And if you would like to be part of this list, have early access to my videos when they are uploaded to YouTube, and a series of other perks, make sure to check out my Patreon page and my members tab on YouTube. Thank you very much.